What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Looking back at easily one of my favorite decks, probably my favorite deck in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! This is something that I've played, I think, since the first month I got into the game. I'm a big fan of the Egyptian gods, so anytime I can make them even semi-playable, I think it's worth it. And as I've been play testing over these few years now, I don't even think it's a close competition. That as it stands right now, the Winged Dragon of Ra is by far the best, simply because it actually helps you win games. Obelisk is kind of an easy one because it doesn't really do anything. Cypher at least has a pretty good floodgate effect, but for such a long time, the Winged Dragon of Ra just really didn't do anything worthy. Because even if you had a direct attack, you would still be off by 100 life points, which just an inherent flaw in the card in and of itself. But Ancient Chant comes along, helps you search it. First of all, it's the only searchable Egyptian god, technically, right? The true name also searches, but it's super gimmicky. Having to stack, cards on top of your deck. The only way to do that in archetype, quote unquote, is card advance. And that's just lame. Those two cards don't really do anything. So I'm going to go ahead and Kaiju the Mirror Jade here, and then I can go for Shaddoll Fusion. So Shaddoll Fusion by itself is equal to 3 monsters on board for Ancient Chant, which is really good. This is a blind going second deck. Obviously, you're playing the Winged Dragon of Ra, so it's sort of like a blind going second invoked deck, like Invoked, Shaddoll, Dogmatika. But I've always talked about this in all the videos, and I haven't really made a video about this in a year, but you would think that the Winged Dragon of Ra is just kind of this random thing, and it's actually a part of it. There's so much synergy, it's kind of stupid between the two archetypes. You're never really going to normal summon. Alistair's your only normal summon. So here comes Ash, right? I got rid of his Mirror Jade. He went into Guardian Chimera. If I was playing regular Invoked, I wouldn't really have anything to do here. Yeah, Ecclesia by itself is actually equal to 3 bodies too. So Shaddoll Fusion and Dogmatic Engine are both 1-card combos. So I'm going to go ahead and send a couple cards to the graveyard here. I'm going to go App Cologne, and then I can, pitch this window here. Window can special summon from deck. So there are the 3 bodies. And now, after all of this, I can go into Ancient Chant, grab the Winged Dragon of Ra. I actually just picked up a Ghost Rare Winged Dragon of Ra, so that's definitely something that's happening. This is just, I feel like I kind of have to. You can protect your Winged Dragon of Ra from being destroyed, and look at that 12,000 attack. I'm going to have a lot more. It's funny, Albedo is one of the better matchups for this deck. You're not always going to be able to go into the Winged Dragon of Ra, unfortunately, right? That's just that's not how it works. You don't have that many copies of it. So one of the main differences that I've made since the last time I've shown this list is I got it down to 40, which is, definitely something. I put Ra back down to 1, right? Because I do run Tri-Brigade Farigite, so Farigite definitely helps, put this back. You just don't really want to draw into it. I'm going to go for App Cologne. No point in going into the Winged Dragon of Ra here, especially because I'm going first, if your opponent does. It is a blind going second deck, but if you do go first, at the very least, you get at least a few interruptions, right? Shaddoll Schism is going to be one of those. Just kind of like a backup plan at the end of the day. I don't want him to get Fallen of Albaz on the field, right? Otherwise, Mirror Jade just comes out immediately, and that's bad. And I think he just adds a polymerization. Maybe it's fusion deployment, but he's going to go for Patchwork. I have Schism, so as long as I play my cards right, I should be good. Now I'm going to go for Schism, right? Maybe I should have waited for the summon, but I was going to opening Chain. I forgot that Despia monster, the opening either adds to the hand or special summons. For some reason, I thought it always added, so I was going to hope to chain it, with the window here. This is a pretty good card, I guess, against. The only problem is if they activate, Fallen of, or, the Fusion, they can just bring out a bigger body than 2200. Now, I did have basically the answer anyways, so it didn't really matter. Forbidden Droplets is definitely that insurance, and he would have never been able to do anything anyways, but he's going to go ahead and pass turn. Again, I can't really special summon Ra, right? It doesn't do anything, but now I feel pretty good. I'm going to have, I think I already have a Wind in Graveyard, like Wind Pegasus, so anything that he, normal summons, or really special summons, right? There's no normal summon that's going to get over this window. There's not really much you can do about it, so I'm going to go ahead and send a couple of cards. I cannot destroy this, and I think I kind of realized that too late, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and boost this attack. This can't attack directly because it was sent off a Schism, but or special summon off of Schism, I should say. But he's going to go for Albion, which is fine. Right, he only has one special summon. Yeah, Dogmatika is not like good for this, but if you have Wind Up, you feel like a lot better about it, obviously. So he's going to go for a Luber and probably normal summon, trying to grab the, Albaz fusion. It's branded and lost. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. He's going to go for it again, right? Because I have the Book of Moon for whatever he brings out with Albaz. He's going to reveal Mirror Jade to bring on Albaz, but that's your one special summon for the turn. Winda is such a good floodgate. It's pretty crazy. He's going to try to get over Maximus. I'm just like, okay, well, that's not happening. Top deck, Trick Clown. I still cannot, after all this, go into Winged Dragon of Ra. But, like, that's the strength of the deck, is, like, it's not, like, super duper gimmicky in the sense that it's, the Winged Dragon of Ra or bust. There's definitely lots of other things. Without a doubt, the MVP of this deck is Triple Tactics Thrust. It is the bridge. It's almost like the Small World bridge, but, like, 20 times better. It can get me Nadir Servant. It can get me Ancient Chant. Basically, whatever I don't have is what I'm going to get. Interrupted Kaiju Summer is kind of crazy. It's kind of not, right? Because you do run Shaddoll Fusion. So those two cards kind of conflict against each other. But normally one's used to bait out something, like almost always. They do conflict every once in a while. So it's maybe something worth changing. I'm not exactly sure. But it's like, you're not going to run Dark Ruler no more. And I'd rather not run Nibiru because I just feel like that's not always good. I'd rather have something that's always good if I know I'm going blind second. And Raigeki is, like, universally, like, a very good thing to do. This is not a once per turn, by the way, the branded opening. It's like a soft. So every time he special summons, he get to add something back to his hand. But I don't think any of this board is really doing anything, but I wanted to show off how cool Thrust was in terms of just, like, increasing the power level of this deck, like, whatever it was before. So I get a top deck of Ecclesia. I can't complain there. Special summon, he's going to, add something back. I need to get rid of this Baller Drake because I'm pretty sure it can destroy, like, special summon monsters or something. The other ones don't do anything at all, right? I'm going to be able to go for Ancient Chant because he did activate a monster effect this turn. Here goes Alistair. Ooh, just gets baited with the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So that obviously feels very good. I can start going into my Alistair plays. Even if he went into anything, it doesn't really matter, right? If he just, like, Bestials, gets rid of my Alistair, it's not really doing anything at all. But, I can go ahead and grab this back to my hand, just kind of like Nibiru insurance, essentially, at this point. I can banish there, and now I can go for Thrust. Thrust can search me Ancient Chant. Now I'm off to the races, right? This is just the end of the game. Just definitely the best, like, probably the best card in the deck is Thrust. It's unfortunate it's $80. Hopefully it's, like, in the Megatins or something. Ugh, I just hate how expensive staples are in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's definitely the most annoying part by a large margin. This is against Dry Tron, and actually Dry Tron goes for the max lock, and somehow, well, you'll see. So he's going to go for regular plays, right? Fafnir is going to search Nova. Nova can grab, obviously, whatever. It's going to be Delta. Very bad sign, right? When he's summoning that out, that means he already has everything in his hand, but he's going to go for Chaos Mix. This is the card that basically locks you out of playing the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Ben 10 in hand must be nice. Must be nice. So he's going to be able to get a draw one, a search. That's going to be Choju. Choju is going to grab a ritual monster and a ritual spell. So one small interaction in this duel that I'll showcase. Something about the battle phase, which I feel pretty comfortable in now. Pretty comfortable about. Jeez, can't speak. There's a lot of, like, small steps in the damage step that can be easy to overlook when you're playing, like, a simulator because, it just kind of does it for you. But I learned about something, and I'll show you. But here we go. He's going to continue going, right? He's just probably going to go into the Link for Chaos Max. That way I'm, like, VFD during my turn. There's the boy. And now he's going to go into Dino Mondo. Literally one of the most accessible cards in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! It feels like, but... Yep, there goes Chaos Max. It's going to tribute itself, and I cannot activate monster effects, but I can, right? He does have a monster from the extra deck. I can't activate any of those effects, but I now have the material that I need for Winda, and that's actually going to make a huge difference here. So there goes Link Karibo, and all I have to do is, send that to the graveyard. And now things are looking up for me for sure. I think he is going to go for the Ritual Summon. Oh, he's going to go for Herald. Herald's going to go ahead and pop Schism, which is fine. I have no other targets for Schism. It is a winded target completely. Probably should have gone for App Cologne, although I guess he gives me Shaddoll Fusion back. I don't even know if I have a valid target afterwards. Maybe that's what he was scared of, but yeah, there we go. There's no more special summoning, so I'm going to go ahead and go for Alistair. And maybe try to go for fire here. I think I can just kind of maybe attack for game, essentially. We'll see. Oh, I think I had actually accidentally normal summoned Ecclesia. Which, you know, what are you going to do? It is what it is. Maybe a fatal error. We'll find out. So Wind is still on board. Which is definitely hard for him to deal with. He would have to have something crazy. It's going to be Blackluster Soldier. So this is that point. I tried to activate Alistair during the damage step. You can't really activate cards during the damage step. There's like very specific ones. And Alistair is not one of those. So you got to activate during the battle step. Right, because the idea is that you want your opponent to be forced to attack into a monster so they lose it, right? If you do it too early, then they can just undeclare the attack. But once you get to the battle step of the battle phase, then that's right before the damage step. That's when you want to activate those effects. So just something to keep in mind if you don't know that. He's going to go for another Fafnir. Fafnir can send Zeta, which is fine. I feel pretty good, you know, even though I made a silly mistake. If I had gotten over that, if I had just activated Alistair at the right time, I think he just loses, but no vanities rule, but look at off the top, Nadir Servant. That is clutch, so I'm going to go ahead and pop the vanities. And then the Kaiju boys can come down. See you later. And I can go ahead and normal summon Alistair the Invoker, search Invocation. Now I can't go into it, right? I'm pretty sure I activated Nadir Servant, but that's fine. And I'm going to go ahead and go for Elder. I can draw one card. Look at that off the top. Ancient Chan. Is this enough? It probably already is, right? That's what, 4,800? It's actually just enough. But the flex would have been cool for the Ancient Chant, so I thought that was pretty crazy. I was able to survive the max lock. You would think that's just impossible to do. This is against Gate Guardian. Definitely something that I would see, like, you know, it has a terrible matchup against meta. And honestly, I'm just sick of playing Kashtira, so that's why it is what it is. Like, Nat Runic is definitely, like, annoying to play against, but it does not compare to playing against something like that. So when you play decks like this, it's just very refreshing. I'm going to go ahead and go for Nadir Servant. You know, I'm going to negate those two effects, which is cool. You know, you can't, it kind of protects him against, I think, against targeting, and he kind of destroys it, but pretty cool that I'm able to do this, right? I just normal summon Ecclesia, search Maximus, special summon Maximus, you know, send App Cologne. App Cologne can get me Winda, discard Winda, summon, you know, that's just game. Versus normally if I'm playing Dogmatika, I'm setting myself up, but that, like, the next turn just comes. So I thought that was pretty cool. You're able to pick apart boards, you know, pretty well. That's the whole point of the deck, I guess, right? Okay, this is an Invoked deck. Really good opening, literally about as good as it gets. Alpha plus Forbidden Droplets plus Shaddoll Fusion and Nadir Servant. It'd be pretty surprising to lose, especially when you see your opponent's playing something so silly. Well, let's see what that is. So he's going to go for Magical Meltdown. Normal summon Alistair. A tale as old as time. He's going to go for Dinotherium. Kind of bold. He's going to go ahead and normal summon there. This is like an Invoked deck. There is no two ways about it. I think he goes into, like, yeah, the Alistair Link, which is really bold. But hey, I like Invoke too. That's the new Invocation artwork. It looks really good. So that would be cool. I hope that means when I have new artwork, I hope that means there's some new Alistair support in one way or another coming out. I know it's going to come out someday. I just think, because I thought that old art was already out, but it's not. So it's kind of interesting. At least I don't think so. I'm going to go ahead and special summon. He's going to have to Book of Moon. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of both of my beasts because, like I said, Shaddoll Fusion is, you know, combo by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that back row. I can, you know, bring back this Performance Trick Clown. He's going to go for Book of Law to grab Ogdoades, but it's just too late. You know, there's not really much that he's going to be able to do here. All right, he's going to pop the Construct. That's fine. You know, I can go ahead and special summon there. This is going to add back Shaddoll Fusion, which is just really nothing, but there goes the Winged Dragon of Ra. I haven't even activated Nadir Servant yet, which is amazing. That's going to go into Maximus. No need to mess around here, right? I'm not going to activate Maximus, I don't think. There's no back row. If there was back row, I'd probably, try to proctor that, whatever it was. But yeah, he's going to try to boost that Macabre, but it is not enough. 12,000 attack Ra is like, that's going to do it. So really fun replay there. I'll skip over this one. Let's go to Ninja. I'll go to the Hungry Burger archetype later too. This is a really cool interaction. So Performance Tricklon is a light. It also makes you take damage. You don't pay life points for its effect to bring back. You actually take damage, which works really, really well with Guardian Slime. Is that what that's called? Guardian Slime. If you take damage, it lets you special summon. Normally, your opponent's the one who's proctors it, but there's a few cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That let you take your own damage. So I'm going to go ahead and start picking off the back row here, which makes Shaddoll Fusion so good. I'm going to go ahead and send Shaddoll Beast. That way I can draw one more. Performance Trick Clown is going to trigger, and I can get to chain block there, which is really, really cool. So here comes Slime. He's going to go for the Continuous Trap to bring something out. That's fine. I'm going to go for Alistair. I have not even normal summoned yet, and yet I've already gotten all this advantage, which I think is pretty neat. I'm going to go for Invocation here, and probably just go into like Almirage. He's going to flip this up, or flip it down, I should say. All I have to do now is just pick this off, right? Like they are flip effects, but if they destroy them, they'll never get a chance to. So there goes Elder. Elder can go ahead and pop one. I already know the other one is like the Book of Moon types 2. So there we go. Maximus can send another Elder. I can pop the other one. Ancient Chant comes down. No one ever lets me finish. Come on, like let me do my thing. You know what I mean? So this is going to be against Novellas or the Hungry Burger archetype. I'll just show a few more. Again, Winda plus Guardian Slime is always good. Once you see Interrupted Kaiju Slumber as well, also a pretty positive thing. There's the Mikenko monster. I think that's a tiny little Igid. I think it's pretty much just a ritual Igid at this point. But he's going to go ahead and discard one. I think that's Kandal. Very neat. So he's going to bring out, one of his Mikenko monsters. I think that searches him Diviner. Very cool. He's going to go for Fascinating Bird. Still waiting on the Hungry Burger stuff. And those Hungry Burger cards depend on you either targeting it or your opponent. So if I just have a big blowout card like Kaiju Slumber, then I have like the advantage by far. Right? Because all of these rituals rank up to each other. But if you can stop the cycle, then there's nothing that they do really at all. He's going to go for Spore. I don't really know why he's playing that in his deck. He's going to look at the top 3 or 6, I think, and he gets to add one Novellas card. And that's fine. So no targeting is what I'm going to be going for here. He's going to go for another Ritual Summon, so he's got 2 of the bodies out. I think it lets him draw a card. He's going to go for Herald. Okay, uses his Ritual Monster. Pretty bold. And 2 back row. Kind of strange, right? A little bit of a weird get up here, but, Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. I have another one. That way, because I'm pretty sure the back row, whatever it is in the Novellas archetype, does depend on you controlling one. I'm sure. So they're like really powerful effects, but that's the cool thing about having the Kaijus, especially the light Kaiju, is, you can use that effect, which is pretty neat, for sure. Like, you can use that Kaiju that you summon from deck to then, use it for Shaddoll Winda. So it works out pretty well. There's a lot of, weird synergy between these cards. But this is actually just the game. I think I'm going to play into Nibiru, which maybe I shouldn't, but if that back row is imperb, then I just straight up lose the game. So I think I kind of have to be a little bit greedy here and go after that. Otherwise, I just normal summon, I go to battle phase, he negates the effect, I scoop. So I'm going to go ahead and pop the back row. It ends up being the ritual spell, which works out for me. That goes to 10,000 attack, which is way more than enough for lethal. This is against Sword Soul, and I'll show a couple more. So this is against Sword Soul. It has an okay matchup, right? The Kaijus definitely help a lot. He's going to start by special summoning Ashina. Pretty good start, for sure. This is going to help him go into Chi-Xiao more than likely. So Vashuda plus Adhara. There goes Chi-Xiao. There goes Longwan. Now he's forced to go into the other Sword Soul monster, right? He's locked into Worms, which is good for me. I wonder what that back row is. Although I guess it could be an Imperm. He did search out Longwan, but I certainly have my suspicions here. I'm going to go ahead and go for Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So the Chen Ying is protected at least once. He's just kind of forcing this out, which is fine, right? Nadir Servant can go ahead and start picking off the back row here. I think that Blackout has to target 2 cards. It's not up to, it is 2. So I can also go ahead and pop that back row. Just piece by piece, you know, breaking through his board, which is really, really cool. I mean, to be able to steal a win like this is like, that's a pretty good opening for Sword Soul, all things considered. Blackout, Chi-Xiao, and then, you know, the banishment there, and he just kind of used it too early. But I can go ahead and just poke forward and, you know, go for lethal. Here's against a Trapjack, and I just love this one because I end up picking this guy's board apart, like, piece by piece. It's truly incredible. So he's going to, I think, set 5 pass, or set 4. We'll see what that ends up being. I top deck another Alistair. I always seem to get the extra copy. He's going to go for Judgment, and they just, like, called by the Graves the Alistair. Okay, so I have 2 more back row to deal with, and also he's special summoned. I never really understand the whole, like, summon heavenly. Like, isn't it better in your hand, theoretically? I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and send another one, right? I'm going to get rid of that last back row that's active at the current moment. It ends up being... Okay, so that's the one with life points. But I'm going to go ahead and pop that last back row, and let's just keep going. So he's going to try to go to the end phase. I'm going to go for Schism to send that. Just very cool, right? Just have this, like, kind of tiny engine that had nothing to do with the Winged Dragon of Ra, but the deck still plays on its own. You know, the Winged Dragon of Ra is really just that extra piece, which, of course, is, like, kind of the whole point, because I like playing the Winged Dragon of Ra. But, again, I just like that the whole gimmick of the deck isn't just the Winged Dragon of Ra. It has its own strategy. It's, like, almost an engine. And a really fun one at that. I wouldn't say good, but it is a fun one. It is a usable one. It's not terrible. That is not the way to describe it. It's fun, and that's really all it should be. But, you know, let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Other than that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.